know you've had all kinds of reasons as to why you should always not go back, but today is special because on this show, the Benjamin Zulu Show, we get to hear from Benjamin himself, and as he tells us why we should not go back to dating that ex after you've broken up with him. Zulu.
And you know, it's not even so much about the ex. No. Some people never quite become an ex. They become the hovering, the people who have hovered in your life. In another show, I told you how dating for long ends up in a mismatch.
Yes.
While it looks from outside, if we have known each other for long, we should be sure.
Yes.
And we should have learned, we should have grown together. Now, today we are discussing on-again, off-again relationships that we end up marrying.
So it's not, we didn't cut the ties.
They're not quite an ex.
No. Because
when people have characterized your dating life single-handedly,
have monopoly.
Until all the vocabulary of your romantic feelings associate with them,
yes,
it becomes almost impossible to recognize another taste of love, another flavor. And that's why we develop another superlative language. That's the only person who can understand me.
That's true.
So
proven and tested.
You know,
yes,
there may be issues between us, but when I look now, surely
how do you start again?
Everybody knows them. They are not at my home. They are not at my, you know. And one of my siblings had a boyfriend like that, and for a long time it looked like they are destined. But because people are polite, they keep issues unknown. You just know the relationship. You don't know the issues.
No.
When they later broke up, she told us the story, and we were like, "Oh, you start to know that." But many of them break up assisted by an angel. There's another lover who identifies them, and they match better. This one has been trying to get out. It requires you an energy to exit an orbit.
So the distraction is working for her.
So when you have been hovering around each other's life, you form a kind of a pattern that is almost an orbit.
Okay.
That's a pull. Because they are in your life when you go to work, when you go to church, when you go home, when you go to the other, when you go to the other. The person's presence is everywhere you are. They are reminders, people ask you about them, so on. So you meet people who know both of you, the other one knows the other. So some people break up when they actually mean it. But going away to where? Be careful. I want you to date in a way that if you leave, you can actually leave.
Yes. Yes.
When you plant a person so deeply in your life, becomes so impossible to disengage, to disentangle. Even after you leave, you can't go anywhere because you are in each other's circles. It's very expensive to start another life far away. That's why people keep getting back together. For several reasons, that this is the only person you have ever felt love for. And I want you to know it's possible that the person who has made you feel love is also the one who's made you feel the most pain.
That's true.
It can come from the same person.
Yeah.
The highest pleasure and the highest pain is possible. And that's one characteristic of addictive, toxic relationships. They are very high highs and very low lows. Very high degree of excitement and happiness, and very depressing and painful, dark places.
Yeah. That
oscillation, I told you the funny thing with it. It's addictive. It's bad. Cocaine. It's a habit you do and you feel guilty immediately. Yes. But the release it gave you, you crave it later, so that when the urges come, you tend to forget the bad side. Yeah. Remember, it forms a very addictive cycle. In fact, the cycle of addiction, that is actually the summary.
Oh.
Even in drugs, that's how addiction goes.
This is bad. This is terrible.
You know, the end of addiction is when you have done it and you're guilty.
Yes.
So it starts with repenting and swearing you never go back there again.
Yes.
And then there's a period of calm and feeling strong and on top. And then fantasies come. attraction, urges, craving. Usually is when you've gotten in touch or you're fantasizing each other.
Yeah.
And then you get in touch or they text and you say it must be divine. I was thinking about them and they texted. And the reality is because this is the only person who's hovering over your skies. Hey, he's the only person in your life.
Divine match.
So then there's fantasizing, craving, and indulgence again, and guilt, and it goes back.
Continues.
Many relationships that you know you're not supposed to be in, they form that. And the bad part is we keep hoping we can improve and solve our issues. One thing that you're not supposed to correct that relationship is when your conflicts are very intense. They last for days, or you talk for hours solving issues, crying.
Yeah.
And then you have a happy moment, now you go out there, you're okay together. And you have seen people come to you swearing they just want you to assist them out, they can move on. And you give them practical solutions. Get this kind of job, get this kind of life.
Yes.
But tomorrow they post, no monkey can separate us.
Yeah. Yeah. You are the monkey. Chimpanzee.
So, my message today is, although this thing is so hard to shake off, in fact, sometimes you lose the will to fight. It seems I was destined to marry this person.
Let's just do it. Better the devil.
So they get married against the protest of everyone. But people know when people are in love, they're usually not very teachable. Most people don't listen to advice when they're in love. Now, what will happen then? I wanted to draw your trajectory.
Okay.
What will happen if you used to break up, come back together, on again, off again, and then finally you said, if we now this time solve our issues and get married, we stop this immaturity, we start life. We will settle this time, we are determined. That's the language they use.
Okay.
I'm very, very, very sure. I'm very determined. When I look at my friend, is also very determined. We even had time to pray. We went to Katoloni.
La 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 la.
You will hear this language.
Okay.
You will hear it. When people are forcing things, when people know this direction they're facing it might not be the right one, but they insist on it. The language they use, the superlatives, the absolutes.
Way.
The language they use is so charged because it's countering a real problem. When truth doesn't need to fight. When people use a fighting language, you do not question the validity of the love, but in their paragraph, and they brought the agenda.
Yeah.
They insist on it with about 4 or 5 times. Just always identify there. You have repeated that word, you are sure you love each other.
Yes.
About 3 times, and yet I did not counter it. Nobody questioned it.
Yeah.
Could it be a voice inside of you?
That it's trying to convince you.
You know, are you saying that to persuade yourself, to silence real doubts? Is there a storm inside of you?
Yeah.
I'm a new person to this story. I did not. Why are you assuming I need to be convinced? If you just mentioned once, that would have been enough.
Yeah.
It tells me you're not at peace with what you're trying to do. This has always been my comment whenever, unless you find a person who's very asleep. When a marriage, they got in and within a few months it was stormy. In fact, I told you, not everybody who says I do or I love you is getting into marriage.
No.
Many of them are counterfeits. Marriage, love, and life have definitive rules. They took you so long to teach you principles of journalism, things you don't violate.
Kabisa.
You do not are going arguing, there's no rules to journalism, just what works for you. You know, people are different and it depends.
What school did you go to?
How come we don't argue that way when it comes to love?
No, we don't.
Everybody, the career they were trained, they can tell you there are many schools of thought, but they are absolutes as well.
Yes. Yes.
You know?
Yes.
They will tell you the Pythagoras theorem, my friend, has been proven over centuries. Don't start arguing about that theorem. If you are still arguing on basics, please go back to school. Every medical lawyer will tell you the absolutes of their field. They say we have to agree on something so that it can work. We are not saying it cannot be disproven in the future. If you bring another theory, we'll agree to that one. But as at now,
Yes.
these are the operational rules. These are the principles. You want to become a researcher? Go to the field and research and come present your theories. You see whether they counter what we are using.
Yeah. Yeah. Simple.
You know?
Yeah.
Well, there's a place for development in every field, but you can't come agree what we have and you're not proven whether you have a better method. So please understand this. Please understand this very well. And stop swallowing nonsense when people jumped to be employed as a journalist without any fundamental. Not everybody was trained in school, but everybody was trained.
Yes.
The lawyers like Moite were learned through apprenticeship, by practice, by self-training. You have universities today, you graduate. Please make sure as they teach you the curriculum of a career, you teach yourself the curriculum of coupling, of marriage, of love. Please. It's a whole curriculum. Today we are mentioning a segment, and one reason we are putting up this work is that we can provide an alternative source of light.
Yes.
There's too much darkness and confusion. I was telling you one question I always pop to those people who try to. So one sign that marriage was never marriage, but a deception and lie.
Yes.
It became storming in months. People fell apart. It was they were riding emotions, ignoring truth. And the other thing is when people, as soon as they became themselves, they became impossible to stay.
Yeah.
So when people say they married at 22, I don't even read after that. Pay me first. This is headache, and I'm not going to absorb trauma for free.
No.
You marry at the wrong, and I tell them there was no psychologist mentioning the word 25 that time.
No.
There was no socialist maybe saying, but you knew. I usually tell them, anybody who is awake knows at 20, I still have a life to live. Many of them don't have the right language really.
Yes.
But they will tell you, I don't want to be tied now. Anybody who lives in a awakened manner will tell you. And because I tell them, you see, many times the problem in life, you enter into the kind of problem that you can't afford the solution. You get so much burns in your soul, in your emotions, that without proper and many surgeries, you will never be normal again. That's why many people messed up. And I tell them, why are you joking with life? Life is short, Mwikali. Let's remind the people.
Yeah.
People like to maintain hope. Some things, you have no time to solve them. They need too much time, and you don't have 200 years.
No, you don't.
Please, please. There's no solution for some mistakes. They cost too much, they need too long, and you don't have that long. That's why you have a lot of people saying, love is has come. Women can't be trusted. I can't trust anybody. Those of us who don't know how to love, which tent are we meeting? People have died while they're living. They came in wrongly, ignorantly, jumped in, finished. I saw a baby baboon jumping around without knowing where the boundaries were jumping. She jumped into the pool, swallowed by a croc, finished.
Yeah.
Please, people are jumping without realizing where the boundaries. You may be excited because the world is new to you and everything is innocent, and stay in the protection of the mother. Stay within protection. Sometimes when I watch Nat Geo, National Geographic, they use some rules about the jungle. They say, this is the jungle. No morals, no mercy, just survival. A mother will eat the baby of another mother to feed her own children too. Yes. So, uncannily, there's a lot of it that is relatable to life.
That is true. Very true.
People will tear you to patch their own tears.
Yes.
People will eat on you to satisfy their own hunger. And although we look civilized, in many aspects, you are on your own in this world.
Yeah.
What I'm beginning today to inject, to remove, there's a lot of garbage in this area of a person we have known each other. We have come from far. Look how much we did. Yeah. Many people have investments. If you're investing in the person you're not married to, please. I've spared my language because you're on TV. If you are jointly investing, buying properties, we are planning to marry next year. We need to have properties by that time, so that we can have 3 children within 3 years. In fact, and you're buying mixing money investments when you're just boyfriend, girlfriend.
Watch out! Stop it!
In the roll call of fools, you should be among the top. So, because many of them are keep going back because of all those other entanglements.
Yes.
So, Mwikali, keep your financial plans to yourself until you sign papers. Until you sign papers. Continue investing with your mother and your people, the people you are doing life with. Even if you have fallen in love with everything you have, keep your investments until you sign papers to become a team, to become a couple with that man, please. Until then, maintain that freedom. Even when you have agreed you're getting married, wait until you sign papers. Always don't put the cart before the horse. Don't get excited. Even if you have a business and he does a similar business, don't merge businesses.
Like, are you paying rent and I'm paying rent?
Imagine.
Let's just...
You don't, something that you want to last, you can't do it in a clumsy way. You want to do it a very procedural way, because you're planting something that you want to last for years. I've extracted lessons from guys who do development. Whenever a house collapses, conversations come up on what went wrong.
Yes.
So I was asking a contractor friend who develops houses. And one house had fallen, the government was doing crackdown, and he was telling me, let me tell you, my friend, Africa, we don't have so much earthquakes to shake houses and they bring them down. Tell me, if you just do basic prudence, you follow the basic rules, the house will never come down. It comes down because people cut corners, they use poor grade materials, they subcontract 3 times. The one who got the job can't do it, gives the one can't do it, the one gives anything. They give a guy who's not competent to build a latrine. It's not supposed to, because they were just after the money to brokerage.
Yes.
You know, you are out building when you are abroad, you're sending money, you're not even monitoring what is being done. He was telling me, when you are hiring people, get to know and ask them. And when people are telling the truth, you can see it coming out. When people even if you are new in this sector and I'm done doing it, I'll tell you what I'm doing. This one is called the shoe. They have language, they're technical language. We are putting the shoe there to stand there, they're on a pillar. This is what will go on top. If they will tell you some things.
Yes.
And when you hear the language and if there's another person you raise the conversation with,
yes,
they will you will hear corroboration among different experts.
Yeah.
What we are discussing today is to say, number one, if you keep going back to a person, is because you don't have your own emotional home to go to. You're emotionally homeless. The reason people keep getting back together is because somebody said when you're lonely, it's because you're in bad company. When they are alone, they're in bad company. Okay, we repeat that.
Yes. Yeah, come. Take it again.
People break up and get back together because when they're alone, they're uncomfortable. They're in bad company. They're in emptiness. They're in a void. There's no fullness in their personal space. Who they are with themselves is not happy. They're not happy to be themselves. I want you to practice this for your own sake in this world. Make sure your own company is something you long for. Insert so much material and richness and content and activities. Even when you are extroverted like me, 98%. If I could do it, surely anybody can do it. My level of extroversion is
very high. Yeah.
And I needed it for what my job we're doing.
Yeah.
98% of my social interaction, I work from an extroverted side, extremely extroverted.
Yes.
That doesn't mean I'm always talking. I don't know why people associate extroverted. Extrovert means energized by social contact.
Yeah.
When my idea is stuck, I can just open my page and start typing and they'll flow. That's how extroversion works.
Yeah.
Your thoughts flow when you're in touch with people. I call a person and develop a concept I did not have. I can go for a show with just a fragment of an idea. Just give me the direction of the conversation.
There you go. And you go.
And when I study, I avoid structuring it because my extroversion requires freedom to pick anytime anything. So I study with the freedom. I have just leaned on my personality and I thrived.
Yeah.
I had a friend who was 91% introverted.
Wow.
So she would think genius ideas when she's off social contact.
Completely.
When she talks to you, one, oh my God, that's so mind opening, that's so practical, that's so real. Then she goes back to her empty space. Look at the opposite operation.
Yes, yes.
She would write down her ideas, don't interrupt. And she can talk, she can enjoy, but she needs that space. It's not just introverts. Everybody, you need to learn how to enjoy your own solitude. You need activities that allow you, in fact, you know you're growing healthy when after some time you feel suffocated by company. You know you're growing healthy
Yeah.
when you just need to unwind in a space, in a car, in your house, in a room, alone. The first day of gym is usually the hardest.
Terrible.
So
You can't lift your own
the
legs.
muscles are arguing with you. Where are you?
Who do you think you are?
You hate the instructor. You hate the gym. You go to another one. The same. You do not speak. You feel pain everywhere. Am I growing this old? You know, that's what is. But when you're determined, what happens? With the time you begin to enjoy it, it becomes part of you. In fact, now you miss it.
Yeah.
That's what keeps you from running after company. You need that ability to walk in the woods and feel nature. You know you are anchored and secured and stable in the oceans of life when being with you has a lot of enjoyable things. It's not what you do every day, of course, every time, but it's a thing. When it is that way, you have something to compare other environments with. Okay?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I want you to understand that. When you are used to being at peace and at rhythm and just hearing your own breath, playing your favorite song, enjoying yourself, dancing, and I told you to use social media as a place to just live your life. You don't display to thousands of people. Many of these people are for the real people who you share values.
Yes.
Social media is not bad, it's what you're using it for. It's the motive, it's what is behind. If you're looking for validation, you're wrong. If you're just enjoying and it's an overflow of the richness of your life,
Yes.
others who are of a similar school of thought will connect and tell you, yeah, that's what I like. Girl, I can see you had a good day. Of course, it was all to myself.
You know? Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
I feel energized now, I can face the week. You know,
Yeah.
next time you get into a relationship, you'll have a contrast to contrast it with. How come I'm not at peace with this person? No, I would rather be alone. I'm always happy alone. What is it? No. It be everything
Yes.
you know.
Yes.
So that's one reason you must never keep going back, and you must never marry or get established. What will happen? Because actually people push and say now time is gone, I don't know another person. That's one reason people usually marry. I'm used to this person and nobody else has characterized my life. And yet you created the mess yourself. You're supposed to solve the mess, not to institutionalize it.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
And the other problem usually people marry that kind of person is the person loves me so much, I love the way they love me, but I don't feel them. Women usually say, I love him, but I'm not in love with him. You'll hear that from women, not men. We have a lot of things that men you don't get right, but there's some statements. Please, we are not saying we are, but some
This is ours. I take it. I take
some
it.
degrees of confusion. Men don't know them.
So there's that statement, and the other one for marry someone who loves you more than you love them.
Another conscious self-deception.
Yes.
We are supposed to be crazy about each other in an equal measure.
Yes.
Life will require us to feel fulfilled. You see, if you marry me and you only somewhat love me, one day you meet a person whom you fully love.
Yep.
What will happen? If you marry a person who doesn't really deep that much, you don't feel that much, and then one day you cross a person you wonder, you mean such a feeling exists?
Yeah.
They take you to a place you've never felt. You struggle to resist. You need a person who you can have your best experiences with. That way you have a home, emotional home to go. Too long to go.
Yeah.
When you feel tempted by snacks here, you know you have a full meal at home. You can simply say, I think I'm just hungry. Let me go and eat.
Yeah.
So why people also marry a person they've been breaking up, coming back together, breaking up, patching up, is because the person loves you, you don't really love them. When women say, I love him but I'm not in love, they usually mean, I appreciate who he is as a person.
Yeah.
I don't connect with him emotionally. Now, can you just use it?
Break it down.
Please.
Break it down. Hey. Hey. What?
Please stop confusing us. I finally broke the code.
You're exposing us.
As a man, as a father, he's so responsible, so consistent.
Yeah, he's hardworking. I can see a future. We will never sleep hungry. Our kids will go to school, good schools for that matter.
You know.
And he goes to church. He's a responsible member of the society. What else do I want?
Let me tell you what else. Emotional connection.
Absolutely.
You need to feel the chemistry. You need to feel. So, for other women, money is very important. So they also pick up a person's money. They wanted their life.
Yeah.
And we did a show telling them first,
Yes.
give yourself their life.
Please.
Put the foundation for the life you want.
Yeah.
So that you're not depending on marrying the right kind of guy to take you there. No. You want to tour the world? Organize those things. You say, within a few years, I'll have enough money. With this kind of, I want to be able to take myself. When I marry a person, I marry one who has similar goals, similar targets, we'll be flying together. They did not fly me when I was not flying. No. I was planning to fly. He was planning to fly.
Yes.
Together we did it better.
Yeah.
That should be the measure. I was planning to buy Gucci. I was planning to buy branded. I was planning one day to drive. I had that in mind. It's on my plan. I've acquired this kind of education, this kind of skills, and on my trajectory, within a few years, I'll be there, over there, myself, I'll be there. Make sure you can say that about your life, eh?
Yes. So you demand that out of another person.
Yes.
Yes.
Please. And I told you to dare to take yourself to 5-star and good places.
Yes.
They don't chase people even if you're just taking coffee, even if it's just mineral water. In most of these 5-star hotels, with $10, 1,000 shillings, you can actually take coffee and enjoy the atmosphere and breathe it in, just like a regular visitor. You just, you know.
Yeah.
And please, they closed one of them that was 53 years old. I think Hilton, one of the branches in the city center.
Yes.
Some people, they don't feel lost because it was not part of their life.
Yeah. Like, okay.
But if Kenchik is closing, they'll be more affected.
Sanford got burned down. Felt the pain.
You know?
Yes.
Or the CJs, you know? So, and you're not saying you must be a regular.
No.
Should be some of the things you long for. You appreciate that Kempiski is around. Those are one of the places that show me international life. Or the high polished corporate life. Just seeing it. Even if I don't, just there's some things you need to breathe in.
Feel it.
You know? So we are saying the problem is if you marry a person who loves you more than you love them, or you marry them because they are all that you have known in your love life, they have characterized your dating skies, they have dominated, because you have never really opened yourself up. You started dating before you knew who you are and where you are going, and so you created such emotional bonds and entanglements which you call love. Is just because you are too narrow-minded, you are fishing within the net, and you never grew up and looked out and went out. You are too impatient and just naive. Instead of digging and spreading wings and flying high, you grabbed what was here and started thinking you have booked a future. Now here you are. It's a labyrinth. It has spread in your social life. What will happen is the same problems will follow you in marriage. Now that you can forget each other, now you think you're going to get serious. Only this time now there will be certificate, there will be marriage, there will be maybe children, there will be businesses, there will be social name.
Yeah.
Know this for a fact. If you once broke up with a person, broke up again, if you come back and you try to officialize things this time round, by taking cows home, visiting home, meeting, marry, wedding, you are only scaling up the conflict and placing it on a higher stakes ground. Don't swear. No point swearing. This time round, me, I'll be this time round. It's not what you swear. You can fight with people, try to scratch your car, fight it, but never fight with the truth. Once you and a person you wanted so much are not working, acknowledge the truth, remove the cobwebs, and the earlier in life you make peace with the truth, the more peaceful your life will be. Yes.
And this is how we wrap it up. Once more, do not marry if you're not passionately in love with the other person already. It won't work. Adios.